And with me here, I have Grace Moselle. She is our head camp coordinator, our head camp counselor at the Teen Times Camp. This is her second year with the Park District. Last year, I had a head counselor leave in the middle. He had to start a teaching job, and she was kind enough to step in as a head counselor, and she did very well. So we're gonna bring her back as a head counselor this year. I also have Sarah Lindahl, who is my camp coordinator. She has been with the Park District for many years. This is her 8th year as camp coordinator. During the school year, she works as a preschool teacher for me. And then I also have Donna Schutz. She's our assistant camp coordinator. She provides support with Sarah. For Sarah, she also drives the van around. You'll see her around. She's been with the Park District for more than 20 years now. So I'm excited to have her back, and we're excited to get started. I'm going to talk first, and then I'm going to have Grace talk a little bit about some specifics on Teen Times. If you wouldn't mind muting yourself while we're talking, just so everyone can hear us, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as far as COVID is concerned, we will adhere to any mandates that are put in place by the county or the state. As of right now, masks are not required, but they are recommended. So we recommend that you send your child with a mask so that they can wear it when they're indoors. We'll be outside as much as possible. But then we will also spend some time in the Park District rooms upstairs in the activity room, or maybe the community room if it's available. But if your child tests positive for COVID-19, please send me an email as soon as possible. And then your child will need to be out for 5 days from camp, with day 0 being the day of testing. When they come back from testing positive for COVID, they do need to wear a mask for 5 days, 5 full days. So if you paid the deposit for camp and are on an installment billing, those billings come out 1 week prior to the session starting. So if you're in the first session of Teen Times, the first payment will come out June 6th, so next Monday. If you haven't already, please fill out the parent authorization forms and send that to me. You can either email it to me, or you can hand it in at the Park District at the Prairie View Community Center. If your child requires any medication, an inhaler, an EpiPen, anything like that, the counselors are going to carry that. So the head counselor is going to carry on a medication. And then you do need to fill out a permission to dispense form. I have that. I can send it to you if you send me an email, or they'll have it on site as well. Anyone picking up your child must be on the parent authorization form, so they can be a parent, an emergency contact, or authorized to pick up. Any of those people will be allowed to pick up your child. But if this person is not on your child's form at all, they won't be able to release your child to that person. So if you need to make any changes, you need to do so in writing. So you can send me an email. If you're in the middle of the day and you realize you can't pick up and you need someone else, send me an email. Or you can give a note to Grace, as long as it's in writing. The staff might check your ID if they don't recognize you. So for the first week of camp, probably plan on bringing your ID with you, because if they don't recognize you, they're going to check your ID. And then if you indicated on your sheets that you need any Manassar assistance, or if you emailed me and said you need Manassar assistance and haven't heard from Manassar, please send me an email so that I can follow up with Manassar and check on that. Okay, that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Grace, and she's going to talk about Teen Time specifically.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Moselle. I'm going to be the head counselor for Teen Times this year. I was a counselor for Teen Times last year, so I'm really excited to be back. The other two counselors are going to be Basil and Katie, and we're all very excited to get to work with your kids as campers this summer. So just going over some basic information to start. We're going to be sending out a weekly newsletter, and that will give you information about what will be happening at camp, including field trips, weekly themes, activities. For anybody that needs it, the camp cell phone number is 224-415-1129. I will have it on me while at camp, so if there's any questions or concerns during camp, you can reach me at that number. Clothes for the campers to wear, shoes that they can run around in and do activities in, and clothes that they can play in too. They might want flip-flops for when they're at the pool, but just shoes that they can run around in or clothes that they can get messy. And then make sure that they bring sunscreen. We can't help them apply lotion sunscreen, but we can help them with spray sunscreen. So if they have that, that's easier. And then things to bring to camp, backpack or some type of bag, sunscreen, a sack lunch, water bottle, face mask that they can leave in their bag, and then swimsuit and towel too. Okay, for drop off and pickup, for anyone that was here last year, our process is going to be the same. We will drop off and pick up at the playground at Prairie View Community Center. So drop off starts at 8:55, and then we'll hang around at the park for a little bit after that. I will need to see whoever is dropping the camper off in the car or walking, whatever way, and then I'll sign them in or out. Until we get to know your faces, as Claire said, we might need to see photo ID just to make sure that the person who is picking them up is on the authorization form. And in the event that it's raining, we will pick up in the atrium area of Prairie View Community Center. And I'll be by the door just to bring them upstairs to the room that we'll be in throughout the day. All right, for the fun stuff, pool days, we're going to be at the new Horror Pool, which is nice. We'll be there 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 1 to 2. We'll walk them there and back. And the first week of the session for the campers, they'll be doing a swim test just to make sure that they can safely go in the deep end. And after they complete the swim test and pass it, they'll get a green band so that the lifeguards know that they can go in the deep end too. They can bring goggles, but the goggles can't go around their nose, just around the eyes. Friday will be our field trip day, so it's important that they wear their camp shirts on that day. We'll give them their camp shirts probably the first day in your pickup so that they'll have them. And if a replacement shirt is needed, it'll be $10. Some of the days we will be leaving around 9:15 for a field trip, so please just make sure that they're on time on those days. This way, everybody gets to go. I think that's it.
We'll indicate on the newsletter that that we're leaving at 9:15. That's the earliest we leave. If we're leaving at 9:15, we'll let you know on the newsletter. Just make sure that you're there by then on that Friday. Does anyone have any questions? Grace, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Did you talk about like pickup location? Is pickup the same as drop off?
Yes, pickup is the same at drop off, and then we'll just need to see the ID if necessary, or just make sure we can see your face. This way we know that the child is going home safely.
Okay. It looks like we have a question. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
For the field trips, do you know that in advance, or we'll just find out a week before?
I have the full list of field trips, so if you want to know, I can send you the list. Otherwise, it will be on the weekly newsletter.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. All right, good question. Any other questions?
Hi. Question.
Sure.
Where is the camp gonna be?
So it's held at Prairie View Community Center,
Okay.
the main Park District building. Yeah, so
Okay.
there'll be they'll be at the park, up in the community room and the activity rooms. So that's where they'll be throughout the year or throughout the summer.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
Okay, a question regarding the games. I know the last year was think about the board games that the kids can or cannot bring. And I just want to know first if you guys change your variety, so you have a lot of games now so they can choose from, or can they still bring the, you know, board games from home? I'm not talking about the electronic games, just the board games.
Grace, I'm not familiar with did we allow people to bring some things from home last year? How did that go?
Last year, I think they were allowed to bring in like board games, but like when it came to like Legos or action figures or anything like that, it wasn't allowed, but board games were allowed last year.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
good to know. Thank you.
Sounds good. Just if you send your child with anything to camp, make sure that you instill in them that they should bring it home. Any other questions? Grace, I'm not sure that you said this, but we will swim test anybody that wants to do a swim test on their first day at the pool. So the campers can take a swim test if they want. If they pass the swim test, they'll get a red or green wristband and be able to go around the pool. If they get a red wristband, if they don't pass, they'll have to stay in the shower and they won't be able to go into like the deep well and that kind of thing. And then I did want to
I have one
mention.
more question.
Sure.
I heard-
I'm sorry, Chantal, I can't hear you.
Okay, will they be transported to the pool and be walking to the pool, or will someone be driving them to the?
They will walk to the pool. So they're going to Har this year, which is a little closer than Oriole last year. So they'll walk to the pool this year. It's right down Dempster.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
Can I just say, parents can opt out if they don't want to go down the slide or off the diving board or the drop slide? Just let the counselors know.
We are not going to have anyone buying concessions at the pool. So no concessions at the pool. The kids are only there for an hour. So want to make sure they get all the swim time they can. I did want to mention the new pool has like a climbing wall and a drop slide, and they're kind of in the same area. So they're only open. They're open like alternatively. I think on the half hour is what the aquatic supervisor said. So you're there for an hour. Your child will probably get to be able to experience both, but not at the same time. Any other questions? Yeah. If you want to give your child permission to sign themselves in and out of camp, like if they're biking home or walking home or anything like that, just make sure that you fill out the form. Grace should have that in her binder, a form to fill out for basically self-signing out. All right. I think that's Donna or Sarah. Did you want to mention anything else?
What's the policy on phones for the teens?
On cell phones?
Yeah. Because if they're
Um,
biking, parents want them. So let's clarify the cell phone.
Grace, Do you wanna, what did you do last year? Did you have any cell phones?
So last year, they weren't allowed to have their cell phones like out during the day unless they like needed to contact their parent for like some type of, emergency, maybe they forgot a lunch, that kind of thing. But they could keep them in their bags, like, let's say if they were biking back and forth, like, so they can keep them in their bags, but they just like can't have them out and be playing on them.
We do not need a bag or a sack lunch every day anymore. That guidance was dropped. So if you want to send a lunchbox, Tupperware, ice pack, all of that is good. There is a refrigerator there. If your child's lunch needs to be refrigerated, there's one in the community room in the community center. So that answers that. So some of the field trips, there's lunch provided, but otherwise a lunch every day. And we'll let you know in the newsletter if a lunch is provided for a field trip. You're welcome. All right, so if you think of any other questions, you can just shoot me an email. I believe everyone probably already has my email. I've probably emailed you about a dozen times by now. But thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you being a part of the discussion and asking questions. And we will see you in about a week and a half.